Welcome to New Homestead. Heads up, if you're planning on going to Chunks, Luther's been bothering anyone with the ship for help. Assignment, but let's keep it that way.
Feel free to look around, but don't touch. New Homestead is a living history exhibit, but these are real people, so please be kind to them.
I can't imagine living here. These people sure are hardy.
I could have sworn I've seen those silly little space frog posters somewhere else. Never thought I'd see them here.
Hello.
Damn power's on the fritz again. Joyce always seems to need help clearing ice off the equipment.
Word of advice, steer clear of the doctor here. She really seems to have a problem with tourists for some reason.
Did you know the museum here is full of old Earth artifacts? Cool, huh?
It's been a while since I last visited. Nice to see this place still has the same charm.
Hi there. Always nice seeing a new face.
Did you see those wind turbines out there? Wow.
It's so cold here. I guess I should have expected that.
Welcome to Chunks. Please choose your chunks.
Thanks for choosing Chunks. Which chunks can I get for you?
Thanks for choosing Chunks. Which chunks would you like today? Great. What can I get for you?
Hello there. Welcome to the New Homestead Chunks. We've got all your Chunks favorites. Well, almost all of them. Sadly, we're out of the special sauce. I know. But everything else is still that great Chunks food you know and love. So, what can I do for you? Oh, you had to go and ask the hard questions, huh? How can I pick just one? Well, there's chicken chunks, beef chunks, potato chunks, cheesesteak chunks, cheesecake chunks. You know what? I'm gonna cheat if you don't mind and just say I love them all equally. You know I do. And what's not to love? It's delicious, nutritious, easy, fast, inexpensive. It sure makes my hungry belly sing for joy. And my wife thinks I eat too much Chunks food, but I just can't help myself. It's so good. Well, people gotta eat, you know? But seriously, I think we're just starting to get with the times a little. And I can't think of a better restaurant than Chunks to usher that in. I think corporate just saw New Homestead as an untapped market. Yeah, the locals may not eat it, but the tourists love having a taste of home. If I'm completely honest, it is. And people are always saying how this Chunks can't compare to the real deal. And I just know it's because we never had that mouth-watering sauce. I've been in contact with some of the other restaurants out there, and they'll give me some, but they say they can't afford to send it, and I don't have a ship, so what am I to do? For real, good question. Now, they haven't said, but I think it has something to do with them prioritizing other chunks over mine. I guess it's made at a different facility than our other food, and they don't even want to pay the shipping cost to ship from another store to ours. Yeah, sometimes I get lucky and a cargo hauler passes through with a route that takes them near other chunks and back again, but there's no guarantee. You bet it is. You may not hear people talk about it, but trust me, it's the secret ingredient. It's like the glue that holds it all together. I mean, not literally. I'm not saying it's glue or that our food falls apart. It's delightful. Tangy, savory, it's a little sweet, but not too sweet. And I've noticed that once people find out we don't have it, sometimes they don't return. It's the reason business isn't as good as other chunks. Wait, for real? You do that? You're not pulling my leg? Oh, yeah, right. I actually just got a message back from another chunks before you got here, and they got a case ready to go for me. Just tell them you're there to pick it up for me, and it should be good to go. Thanks.
Boy, am I glad they have a Chunks here.
New Atlantis really is the settled systems at its finest.
Welcome to Chunks, home of the best chunks in the settled systems. You've chosen Chunks. What a great choice. What chunks can I get you? Honestly, you're probably better off not thinking about it. Huh. I thought it was a joke at first, but yet, here you are. Let me get that for you. It's amazing how popular this stuff is on Titan. You'd think they just drank it over there.
I found something for you.
Hey, boss, check this out. I found something for you. Damn, guess I'm getting predictable in my old age. This seemed like the kind of thing that might come in handy. The rest of the crew could learn a thing or two from me, huh? I'll give you a holler if I find anything else you might like.
Glad to see you're back in one piece.
Any troubles you need to share? Ah, my day just got a whole lot brighter.
I'm right behind you.
All right, fine. But don't go doing any mining without me.
Another suit walk, eh? Good. Let's have some fun.
Interesting. The last thing I expected to stumble across at this type of settlement is a museum. Might be worth a look around. Don't stay outside for too long here on Titan. You'll freeze solid without the proper protection.
We used to get more tourists than we do these days.
If you'll pardon me, I'm not in the mood to talk. We get a lot of tourists out this way, but most of them aren't so bold as to strike up conversations with us. What's your deal? Sorry, usually when the tourists say that, it means they want something. Free local produce, a picture, or something else I don't intend to give. So what can I do for you? From what I know about farming elsewhere, it's largely the same. Big difference is that we need to import or make our own soil. And we need to be extra careful with our temperature control. Titan's surface is frozen, and it's not much better just below it with the ice caves. Then it's just a matter of artificial sunlight and supplying CO2 for the crops. It's not too challenging. Well, for one, it's my wife Mara's farm. I just had the good fortune of marrying into it. It's been in her family for generations. We're the best source of fresh produce in the colony. Not like that processed junk we get from off-world, and certainly nothing like that eyesore chunks. No worries. You have yourself a day now.
If something's on your mind, you can tell me. Maybe if you're lucky, we'll talk again later.
Someone new. Are you a tourist, or have you just moved to New Homestead? Well, there's lots to learn. You can always feel free to try one of the historical tours, or ask the locals about life here. I'm fascinated by the other worlds in the settled systems. Do you mind if I ask you a question? Oh, wonderful. What's New Atlantis like? Oh my, that sounds incredible. Ever since I overheard one of the tourists speaking about it, I've always wanted to go. We hear about it, of course, but we rarely get much exposure to other worlds beyond the people who come from them to visit our little colony. I wonder if I can convince Nathaniel to go on a trip there with me and our daughter. Do you mind if I ask you another question? Thanks. I promise not to take too much of your time. Is the Freestar Collective as lawless as I've heard? I figured the stories weren't all true. How else would you expect people to live together if you can't trust in laws to keep everyone safe? Even in a small community like ours, we have to maintain law and order. Though, I understand it gets difficult to always protect that out in the vastness of space. I imagine it's the same in the Freestar Collective. Is it okay if I change the subject? Oh, thank you. Are there really planets full of plants, fresh air, and water? I've read about them. It seems incredible, doesn't it? I've only ever known Titan, and it's always so cold and drab. I've always dreamed of visiting one to breathe the air, feel the warmth of its sun, but my husband is reluctant to leave our home. Can I ask you something else? Thanks. I promise not to take too much of your time. Is space travel as exciting as it seems? I've heard stories about pirates and spaceship malfunctions and all sorts of terrible things. I've always wanted to try going into space, but I'm also worried about all those dangers. Maybe people here are right. The dangers here are few, and we know how to take care of them. Space is too unknown. Those are all the questions I have at the moment. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day for me.
Did you know that Earth had all sorts of cool animals? Actually, lots of planets do. But not this one. Sad, huh? Hello? I'm not really supposed to talk with tourists, but I kind of want to anyway. And I don't think my papa is paying attention. You're not going to tell him, are you? Oh, thank you! I promise it'll be fun. I like talking to tourists. I get to learn so much about everywhere else, and they get to learn about here. Now what should we talk about? I think it's pretty fun. And I get to be around my mama and my papa all day, so that's cool. They say we all have to work a little, 'cause it takes all of us to make the community work. Just like on Earth a really, really, really long time ago. Someday, I think it'd be cool to see other places and do other things, but this is fine for now. My mama says it's because he thinks we'd up and leave if we found out about the rest of the worlds out there. But I keep telling him, I love it here, and I love him, and I would never leave him. He doesn't believe it. He says the kids almost always want to leave when they grow up. But not me. Nope. I just want to visit somewhere else. Maybe. Not really. There's some, though. Most are around my age. We all go to school in the same room. I don't know. I've never been to any other schools. We mostly learn about the history of the Sol system and Earth and stuff like that. until we get old enough to go on our learning vacation. That's when we get to leave to go to school somewhere else for a few years, or travel and visit other worlds, try out jobs and stuff. Oh, I can't wait. Let me know if you have any other questions.
It's a little weird that people come here to see what early colony life was like. To me, it's just how we live.
Why do we have to farm? How is that part of our tradition?
Well, we tend the farm here because we need to grow food. And that's what our ancestors did on Earth.
But didn't they have big open fields and giant machines? We don't have any of that.
She makes a good point, dear.
It's because we have a much smaller space to work with.
So then, it's not really the same, is it? How is it a tradition if it's not the same thing as they did? And so then, why is it important that we preserve it?
I don't know, it just is. Now, we don't want to fall behind on work, so let's get back to it, okay, kiddo?
Okay, fine. We were learning about Jemison in my class the other day.
If you need medical
Can we
attention,
go
see
there
Dr.
someday,
Dakota. But
Mama?
a word of warning, she really doesn't care for tourists.
We talked about this, Sylvie. If you want to go there for your learning vacation when you're older, you may, but not until then.
Dear, maybe we should talk about it before we say no?
You know we can't afford to leave the farm. People here depend on us.
I know.
Tell you what, your mom and I will talk about it.
Thanks, Papa.
Sure would be nice to get off-world sometime.
I'm learning so much here. Everyone should visit at least once in their life.
Ooh, and just in time, too. I'm practically salivating just thinking about that sauce. Thanks a whole bunch. This is gonna put this place back on the map. Don't tell my wife, but I actually prefer Chunks to her cooking. And don't get me wrong, her cooking's great. Thanks for visiting Chunks.
The Chunks family is happy to see you and to serve you. What can I get you?
I still can't believe people actually live like this.